Hello everyone, today we will learn about the next concept in the program series of competency development for employees of EduFit Corporation, which is letting go. In today's modern and stressful society, letting go is a piece of advice that we come across regularly. It can be letting go of expectations, letting go of the past, or letting go of fears, but in this lecture, we will talk about letting go of complaints or rackets at the workplace. In Vanto Group's training course for managers, the term racket has become more familiar to EduFitters. A racket refers to a persistent complaint that is repeated over and over again in the same way. John is often late for work, so his manager, Mr. David, makes persistent complaints about it. His persistent complaint is saying,
"John is late again."
Whenever he sees this happening over and over, even during group meetings, shows that Mr. David is creating a racket with John. A racket is more than just a persistent complaint. Just like a story that is told over and over will ultimately become a fact, a persistent complaint will create a fixed impression of others, and most of these impressions do not fully reflect who they are but only reflect how you see them in a certain situation. One day, Mr. David had an urgent task to complete with his colleague John. Unfortunately, John arrived very late on that day. Mr. David's brain quickly associated it with such assumptions as,
"He doesn't care about his work. He's so undisciplined."
As a result, Mr. David's brain was caught in the attribution trap based on his fixed impressions of John without attending to the relevant external factors. So, why do people let rackets exist? The reason is that rackets still have certain benefits. Rackets can help people not to lose face or allow people to defend themselves in certain situations. However, people often use rackets to control a situation, to feel dominant over others, to feel that they are the winners while others are the losers, or that they are right while other people are wrong. Everything has two sides, so try considering the pros and cons of having rackets continue. Let's go back to the example. These negative impressions or rackets keep contributing to Mr. David's judgment of John's actions. Every mistake John makes amplifies the bad impression Mr. David has on him. Therefore, Mr. David decided to do the next project alone, but he did not finish it until late at night. The next morning, the alarm clock suddenly didn't work, and then there was a traffic jam. As a result, Mr. David was late for work. He became more and more frustrated, irritated, and intense as he was criticized by his boss and did not receive the cooperation of his colleague. Of course, you have the right to complain when necessary. However, keeping a persistent complaint like Mr. David in the above example is like you are accumulating a tumor in your body and it is just waiting for an opportunity to explode. You might wind up finding it difficult to empathize with other people, and more seriously, a racket will slowly wear you out. Scientific research has shown that keeping negative emotions, frustration, and discomfort will affect both your mental and physical health, which eventually causes stress and insecurity, and increases your blood pressure and risk of heart disease. These pent-up negatives are like a slow uptake of poisons into your own body. When you let a racket get bigger and let it get stuck inside your mind, you will end up distancing yourself from the other person. By keeping it unsaid rather than letting things go, you will get no support from your colleagues and nothing will go your way. All of these result in you not being able to express yourself and not feeling fulfilled in your job. Therefore, it's you who will be affected first, then your relationships second. It is advisable that we should let things go to avoid paying the unworthy price. Once you realize your desire to let go of a racket, follow these steps to handle it with the other person. First of all, think of 3 positive things about the other person or things you two have in common, as this will make you feel more comfortable. Then, go see the other person to have a candid conversation with them in a suitable setting. Start with an acknowledgement, and then be frank. "I have this racket with you, and now I want to let it go." Continue the conversation even if it seems difficult. When both sides are sincere and open with each other, the dilemma will be slowly resolved and you will at least feel more comfortable speaking out and getting feedback from the other person. The complaint will eventually be eliminated, and thanks to this, we will have the opportunity to understand each other better and contribute to the success of teamwork through such communications. Let's consider some other examples of letting go. Clara has a complaint about her colleague, Eric. Eric is very forgetful, so Clara often has to keep a close eye on his work to remind him about it. Whenever Clara assigned a task which Eric later forgot, She immediately felt annoyed and frustrated. Finally, after lunch one day, Clara met Eric and said,
Eric, first of all, I acknowledge your creativity in your work. However, I have a racket with you, which is that you often forget my assignments to you. Perhaps you are not in my position to understand my worries, but your absent-mindedness really affects my superior's assessment of me. When you forget your tasks, I have to deal with them myself. So, I want to meet with you today to let it go. When I have a racket with you, I always think that I am right and you are wrong. That makes me tired and frustrated and ruins our relationship. I also want to apologize to you because I have told one or two other colleagues that you were a forgetful person. Now that I have told you this, I will let it go so we both can build a better relationship with each other.
Thanks to their conversation, Eric had the chance to listen to Clara's concerns, and Clara also got her worries off her chest. Writing a letter is another good way of letting things go. Let's take a look at the following real confession of Alice.
Dear Sophie, I acknowledge your dedication and enthusiasm during the time you have worked with me. Sometimes I even joke around that you are working only for the sake of passion. However, I know you also have certain difficulties in life. You never mind working overtime and are always willing to give it your all and assist me towards the development of the company, which is not something that everyone can do. Still, I have a racket with you. My persistent complaint about you is that you are always petty with the people you don't like. When I am pondering on that, I think that I am right and you are wrong. This really makes me tired and causes the relationship between us to deteriorate now and then. Therefore, from today on, I declare that I will let go of this complaint. I hope that you will help me let go of this complaint. So whenever you notice me repeating this complaint, just remind me by asking, do you have a racket with me? Please understand and help me with this. Thank you so much. Ms. Alice.
Letting go takes time to practice and reflect on. When you are influenced by external factors, the pain is not caused by the event or the person, but by the way you respond. And you have the right to stop it whenever you want. Letting things go will make you and those around you happy, as well as boosting the teamwork morale amongst colleagues. Thank you for listening to this lesson.